Hi, ladies and gents, how you doing? I'm pleased to see there's 58 sensible people still in here. Some of you guys said, don't put the stream on when England are playing. And to that I said, fuck England. I have no interest in them. It wasn't bluster when I said, if they kept taking the knee, I wasn't watching. I'll go one better. I'll root for the Iranians. I couldn't give a monkey's fart. And I will say, in my defence, a Middlesbrough fan has a slight advantage in this because I am a dyed-in-the-wool Middlesbrough fan, definitely. You know, when you're from a shitty town like Middlesbrough, it's almost like a religion because we haven't got anything else. You're forced to support Middlesbrough. I know that when I think I mentioned this, I went to a pub in Thousand Oaks, which is west of Los Angeles. And as soon as I walked in, there was a Middlesbrough shirt above the bar. And I said to the bloke I was with, I was like, I guarantee whoever owns this boozer or one of the locals is a Borough fan. And he said to me, how do you know that? And I said, because teams like Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, big clubs, people support them from anywhere. You know, a fan of those clubs could be from anywhere. You come to America, there's Americans who support Man City, Liverpool. They all love Liverpool and Man U. Nobody supports Middlesbrough unless they're from Middlesbrough. Sorry, unless they're unfortunate enough to be from Middlesbrough. So I knew that the owner was a Borough fan. So it's like an android. It's like a religion where I come from. And the reason it gives you an advantage with not supporting England is because no Middlesbrough fans really love England anyway. Because you can't go to a game if you're a season ticket holder of the Borough, none of the players that play for England play for Middlesbrough. And there's a few of my friends said this to me when I was a bairn, like when I was 15 and I used to go with my dad's mates to the games. They used to say to me, what do you watch England for? John Terry, he's a wanker, basically reeling off all the players who you spend week in, week out booing because they all play for big, typical, massive teams from the capital or Man United or Man City. Do you know what I mean? So, like, when I was watching this as a kid, I'd be going to the Riverside Stadium in the 90s and week in, week out, I was booing wankers that played for England because they're there trying to put one past Middlesbrough. So to me, I think I've always naturally gravitated towards not really being an England fan. I'm not saying I wouldn't prefer them to win, and joking aside, back in the day, not now. But I was never fanatical about them. I used to always watch the games at the World Cup and the European Championships and all that up until about 2015 when the culture wars started to infect everything. And I told you lot this years ago. In fact, I'm sick of making the point. You have to have a Spartan mentality and immunise yourself against, immunise, there's a word I choose advisedly nowadays. Immunise yourself against the fact that we'll take everything from you, everything you like. I said this before I even made a YouTube channel when I was talking about the way that the government was just taking the piss out of the working man, where every budget, they'll stick 10 pence on a pint of beer or a packet of fags or gambling or they basically tax everything you like every time they have a budget. And when the walk started, it was ramped up to that on steroids. And essentially, because their entire ideology is about promoting bitterness and resentment and envy and spite in order to usher in the glorious revolution, they will take everything from you. And I was telling this to comic books fans because I've been into comics when I was in my 20s. I liked comics. And then when they started sucking, they got ditched as well. They'll take everything from you. The people that now run the comic book industry don't like the people that read the comics. The people that make the movies have said, we don't like comic books. They're not diverse enough. They're not inclusive enough. So they're going to take them from you. If you're a comic book fan, accept it. Do what I do. Find it amusing and laugh at it. because they're going to take it off you. It's gone. If you used to like them, you're not going to like them much longer. Football. Of course they've took football off you. Emily Thorne twat. Remember that big fat upper crust twat gobbing off because a bloke had an England flag in his fucking driveway? She'll be watching the game. She'll be in the local pub going, yay, England. Have you noticed how they all pretend they're English fans now? They're England fans. Fucking Richie Rich, billionaire that's never give a penny to an Englishman. He'll be there with his England. Come on, England. They were all on Twitter, all of them. Keir Starmer, Boris Johnson, England. It's about as insincere as Jeffrey Dahmer telling you he's a fucking vegan. So they can have it. They can have it. I don't care about England. It's essentially, football is kind of stupid anyway, if you really think about it, because it's just sort of like tribalism for the modern era, i.e. instead of painting our faces and stabbing each other in the eye, now we go mental about football for a couple of hours and this makes us feel better, apparently. I think if you've got strength of mind and a stiff upper lip, you can eat any ignominy they push at you. So I accept the fact that England's gone and the team's been consumed, and now you tune in for a fucking lecture to watch a bunch of multi-millionaire diversity hires pushing their fucking bollocks agenda on people they don't like. And the reason I left that BBC thing up there is because, look, they've even done it with the imagery. Look at the imagery. Just look at it. Does that look like a stereotypical bunch of fucking English people, does it? Look at that. You've got Johnny Hijab there in the corner. And then you've got fucking... Well, I don't need to go on about it. Basically, if you took the face paint off them and stuck a fucking towel on their heads, that they could pass as the Taliban and a bunch of fucking jihadi brides. So it's no coincidence that that's the images they've picked for the England fans, isn't it? They wouldn't pick a bloke who looks like me with an England flag because that doesn't push the message. Hats off to a critical drinker for that one, because I think everyone on the internet started using that term, haven't they? You just call it the message, because that's what it is. Even the image they've used for the game is pushing the fucking message. The message. Oh, look, here's your stereotypical England fans, a big gang of girls. Football's shit now. It's shit. Listen, when I used to go in the 90s, it was mint. In the 80s as well. It was lads and dads. Basically, some of the funniest things I've ever seen were at the football matches when I was a kid. So it gives you a ready sense of humour. I've got tons of stories. Probably a lot of them aren't acceptable for public consumption. One of them I remember was Paul Parker fouling one of the Borough players. This was probably in about 91 or something. Remember when Paul Parker was playing for Manchester United? And someone shouted really loudly, "Gas the black." Right? And everybody, because it wasn't acceptable, even back then, turned round horrified and went and looked round. And sure enough, the bloke that said it was like a big black Jamaican dude with like dreadlocks. And that was why he shouted it. And that was why it was funny. That's a true story. He was like, "Gas the black." And everyone went, "Fucking hell." And then everybody turned around. It was like a big black dude. Probably the only guy in the whole gate who wasn't a pasty white northern motherfucker. But that's why it was funny. Because the dude who shouted it, clearly tongue-in-cheek, was of an ethnic minority himself. Stuff like that doesn't happen anymore. You go into a football game now and there's all these signs up saying no swearing. They have a family zone. They've promoted this shit where you've just got like little kids, women and kids everywhere. And it's shite. It's totally, what would be the word? Not sanctified. That's bloody religious talk. It's totally neutered. It's sterilised. That's the word I'm looking for. Football. It's not funny. Now it's just a load of women, a load of kids, big signs everywhere saying, "Don't get drunk, don't swear, don't fucking do anything." So they've sterilised football. It's shit. So no, I'm not watching England. I don't care. I don't care. If win, lose or draw, what's it going to do for you? What's it going to do? If England somehow, even though they're shite, and by the way, this is another one I want to take umbrage with any Scots, Irish or Welsh listening in, right? I'm assuming the people that watch me aren't this daft, so I'm probably preaching to the converted. But one thing that used to really irritate me about the Scottish and the Irish and the Welsh, even in the car, good lads, but whenever there was a game on and the lads used to go into the naffy to watch it, the sweaties and the paddies and the taffers would say, oh, the thing is, though, England are dead arrogant. They always think they're going to win everything. And I was like, who does? What England fan actually thinks England are going to win anything? They're the most cynical bunch of cunts ever. Slim, you get it, you're Scottish. England fans don't sit there going, oh, we're definitely going to win the World Cup. If you were to ask 100 England fans before, I don't know, last World Cup or South Africa, before the World Cup, do you think England are going to win the World Cup? 99 of them would say no. They always say, fuck off. The best we're going to do is probably get to the semis or the quarterfinals. That's what people would say. I hope we manage to get to the semis. Nobody thinks England are going to win the fucking World Cup or the Euros. We outperformed in the Euros. They didn't deserve to be in the final in the Euros, and everybody knows it. So I don't think it's right to say England are arrogant. England just know that they're slightly better than Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. That doesn't make them arrogant, does it? I mean, they don't think they're going to fucking win. What's the score? England have had 73% possession. Whippy fucking do. Yeah, so we're not watching it. We'll let this team of jihadi brides watch the fucking England game. We'll do some news, shall we? Oh, God, how come they always put it on the homepage as well? I'll support the Americans. The Americans didn't take the knee, did they? Which is amusing. Here's the story I wanted to do. Look at this bad boy. Look at this here. Well, blow me down with a feather. Who could have seen that coming? If you're extremely Scottish, you should have see-through skin because you fuckers get even less sun than we do. Philippines sees a pandemic boom in child sex abuse. So there's something we can add to the list. You know, those of you that have been watching me for a long time will be aware that I've been saying this since the very beginning of the pandemic. Again, not trying to sound like a widehead. I was predominantly parroting Peter Hitchens and other right-wing, conservative, libertarian-minded folk that were looking at the data and the numbers and telling anybody that had listened, that was clever enough to read the columns, that locking people in their houses in an order to combat the pandemic was not a zero-sum game. And it wasn't just a case of, if we lock people in their houses, the modelling suggests 200,000 people are going to be saved from dying of COVID. And like I said, it just has to pass the common sense test, doesn't it? Normal people like you and I, we said, is that logical, though? Like I said, I am staggered how stupid and ignorant the clueless clowns that run the world actually are. It's staggering that they call them the elite when they couldn't run a piss up in a brewery. Any common sense person, because like I said, I do read a wide variety of opinions. I read The Guardian and the BBC every day because I want to know what's going on. I still think I'm capable of critical thinking. I sit on the fence, I read both sides, and I side with whoever makes the most sense. And when Peter Hitchens said, way back in like March of the year it started, when he said, it's not just a zero-sum game, you're not just going, nice one, we're going to save 200,000 people from COVID, because he pointed out the obvious, blatantly obvious fact that when you lock people in their houses, there's a price to pay for it. And people like him were saying, you know, it's going to be bad for people's health. People don't get out and exercise if they're locked in. People can't go to the gym anymore, which is a massive one that I've complained about for years because I had to go up and down the bastard stairs in the multi-story car park outside my house. It was the most annoying 18 months of my life when the gym was closed. People were absolutely fucked. They were not getting any exercise. They were not getting any social nourishment. They weren't socialising. They weren't seeing their family. They couldn't go to the funerals. There was obvious hypothesis right back in the day that it was going to increase problems with addiction. and alcoholism, and anybody who has half a brain could see that that was a risk. Rotten Politics is in, nice one. Outsped West, that is a good name. We are fans of serial killers on this channel. I use them for many euphemisms. But yeah, basically, I think anybody with an ounce of common sense could see it coming. I don't believe it's strongly to do with politics. I think anybody who's genuinely got an ounce of common sense did the same thing I did. Rotten Politics was saying the same thing. Paz and We Got a Problem. Basically, all the centrist, liberty-minded people that I follow on YouTube were all saying the same thing about 2.5 years ago. They were saying, yeah, but if we lock people in, sure, it might stop a couple of thousand really old, really sick people from dying, but then there's other things that are going to kill other people. And all the data has proved us to be 100% right. Whether you're looking at the staggering volume, the increase in mortality rates, the increases in people who've had strokes, heart attacks, suicide, and alcoholism, drug addiction, all those numbers have shot up. And you and me and anybody who's not an idiot could see that was what they were doing. So we've been vindicated, but this is just the cherry on top of a gigantic shite cake. Because I assumed you might see more sex abuse in the UK because you've got kids locked in with their abusers and they've got nothing else to do. You know, there's no distractions. So that's what they're getting up to. But I didn't think Philippines would even see see the negative side of it as well. His story says 7-year-old Eric giggles, showing off a broad toothless grin as he talks about space travel in the shade of a garden surrounded by thick forest a few hours north of Manila. He dreams of flying a rainbow-coloured rocket to Saturn. What do you cry about during therapy? His social worker asks him. I cry about my parents, he says, looking at the ground. Yeah, because when the neighbourhood was asleep, much of the Western world was awake. All 4 children were forced to perform live sex shows for paedophiles around the world. Yeah, so there you go. So, I mean, if you can think of anything more depraved and fucked up than that, I'd like to know what it is. And what did we do? Just like when we had our own problems with that kind of thing in Rochdale and Rotherham and Newcastle and Leeds and Middlesbrough and everywhere else that the followers of Alan's world-famous snack bar inhabit, just as in that situation, we basically enabled noncery. We enabled noncery on a global scale. The WHO, the UN, the World Economic Forum, the globalists. It's a thing now. It's a thing now. I don't like to use constant terms that are parroted by real wacky conspiracy theorists, like, you know, there was no moon landings type shit. But we are living in a post-nation state world. Like I've said, the left-right paradigm has vanished. It's no longer a thing anymore. Now you've got nationalists and globalists. And the globalists are all in on it together. This was all part of the plan, and it went on all around the world. They've got an obsession with noncery for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. You tell me. It can't be a coincidence that they're all fucking creepy, weird pedo types, aren't they? All the people who run the world are all creepy and weird. The Balenciaga thing with the teddy bears in gimp suits, these aren't done by like working class individuals getting 60 grand a year on a shit salary. They're always done by the rich and the powerful. They've got some bizarre, fucked up thing with noncery, and I can't get my head around it. I don't get it. But basically, yeah, funny old thing. We also enabled global noncery. I mean, it's even better than the Catholic Church because they only fucked everyone in the Catholic countries. The last few years has seen the globalists enable global buggery, global kiddie fiddling. It's quite an achievement, quite an achievement. Said it was the children's father who eventually reported his wife and her family to the police. Investigators traced payments to the family from accounts in the UK and Switzerland. Unfucking believable. So, winner. There's another one. Then came the pandemic. More than 2 years of lockdowns and some of the world's longest school closures left vulnerable children stuck at home with cash-strapped parents desperate to make money. Oh, really? Who could have saw that coming? Who could have saw that coming? I could. What have I been saying for the last 2.5 fucking years? Yeah, I know Blair told us. Did it on purpose, didn't it? Peter Mandelson, it was that. Peter Mandelson, monkey hanging twat. Peter Mandelson. Yeah, did it on purpose. So yeah, that. Then came the pandemic. More than 2 years of lockdowns and some of the world's longest school closures left vulnerable children stuck at home with cash-strapped parents desperate to make money. Unfucking believable. And like I said, vindication. I like being right more than being alive. I'll cackle as the nukes fucking rain down because I just like being right in a public forum. This is what we said. Everybody who's watching me, in fact, give yourself a pat on the back because at this point, I don't think anybody in the chat disagrees. We all knew what was happening. We all could see the writing on the wall when the elites either A, did it on purpose, which is even more sick and fucking evil, or B, were too stupid to know that it was going to happen. But both are unforgivable, aren't they? If Chris Whitty and Patrick Vallance and all these fucking worms, I even feel sick saying the name, like Matt Hancock. If that fucking human toilet didn't know that this type of shit was going to increase when they started signing up for all these global lockdowns, it's almost as bad as doing it on purpose because you shouldn't be doing that job if you're that fucking stupid. So best case scenario, they're too dumb to be allowed to do the job. And worst case scenario, they are pro-nonce, genuine psychopaths who like seeing kids get diddled. Either way, I think it's logical to hate them all. So fair dues, isn't it? Fair dues. I think done and dusted. It's logical and reasonable for me to detest and despise these globalist freaks that run the fucking world. And I'm not talking about that anymore because it makes me angry. And for the last 2.5 years, we've talked about little health, haven't we? So let's do something a bit more comical. This made me laugh on Twitter today. Slim, this is what I'm talking about, right? These Scottish nationalists, being full-blown communists, just outright lie all the time. Communists are incapable of being honest. And this is another example of where they make a point that nobody actually believes in order to refute it. It's like they call it a straw man, but it's not even a straw man, as if it's that fucking stupid, because they're not debating with anybody. Inventing a position out of thin air and then refuting it, claiming that fictional people believe it. That's not even a straw man. That's a fresh air man, oxygen man. Right? Look at this one. Lots of people in England seem stunned that a UK Prime Minister would lie to the public. Scotland has had to put up with this nonsense for years. Stunned. Lots of people in England are stunned that a UK Prime Minister would lie to the public. What fucking planet is this ginger mog inhabiting? And I'll warrant that's probably not her picture because she's actually quite attractive. And if she's a communist, she'll be a big, fat, purple-haired howler. So, yeah. Lots of people in England seems... I mean, think about it. When I was a child, I remember... One of the first things I remember as a 5-year-old is hearing people say, never trust... There's two people you can't trust, son, lawyers and politicians. And nowadays... Politicians are all lawyers. So this fucking gobbledygook is an outright fiction. Lots of people in England seem stunned that a Prime Minister would lie to the public. No, they aren't. Every single person I've ever met knows that politicians can't lie straight in bed. So don't tell me that lots of people in England are stunned. Mate, that is not her. Trust me, that is not her. This is probably some fat Scottish fucking purple-haired land mammal with a picture from anywhere on Google. That's not her. It's ridiculous how stupid people are online. Any attractive profile picture for some reason on Twitter's got 10,000 followers. No, that's not her. It's some howling, at best, it's a howling blue-haired 25-stone fucking minger, and at worst, it's a big hairy-ass bloke. So don't even look at the pictures on Twitter. What else have we got on here? I want to look at some of my tweets because I've seen a few funny ones in the last day. Let's have a look. Eva Val Linderbrook. See, she's been on telly. She actually is tidy. Got a lot of time for Eva. Not only is she good looking, most importantly, she's intelligent. She's good thinking. So I like her. Give her a follow. Oh, I already am. Of course I am. Douglas. Everybody likes Douglas. Fucking World Health Organization. You know what? I'll tell you what. I will rant about the World Health Organization for a little bit. I watched a great video by a Geordie I follow called Morgoth, called the Whale and the Elephant. And it was all about how in every war, all throughout history, since time immemorial, you often get these two big powers that face off against each other. The Peloponnesian War was the big one in Greece. You got Napoleon is an obvious example. There's tons of them where you get the elephant and the whale. And the whale always ends up having the most power because the elephant is the gigantic land force, like Napoleon. And the whale is the big sea power, like the British at the time. And in the Peloponnesian War, it was the Spartans v. the Greeks, the Athenians. And the whale has the ability to go all around the world as an ocean-born creature allows it to. The elephant's this gigantic behemoth, undefeatable on the land, but it's stuck where it is. And the World Health Organization proves what he was saying about the elephant and the whale, because we've been bludgeoned into oblivion. The world's working class could be looked upon as the elephant, and we're still getting defeated by the whale because these multinational global seats of power, unelected, like the World Health Organization, like the United Nations, like NATO, the WHO, the WWF, basically there's dozens and dozens of them. The Red Cross, Oxfam, fucking all these massive NGOs or multinational organizations essentially indoctrinate us all, and they tell the states what they have to do. It's not down to the politicians. Rishi Sunak has got no authority. The people that you see the face of have got no authority. It's the motherfuckers that run these massive organizations, and every single one of them is simming off the same hymn sheet. And I think everybody knows it. The WHO, the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, NATO. It's obvious. So these are a nefarious organization. The only people who don't think this are the normies who don't pay attention. And the real staggering thing is, which is proof of their capability, their power, is that now the people that call themselves revolutionaries are in lockstep with the world's governments. They've won. Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion are protesting when, thanks to the machinations of the WHO and the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, every Western power has been consumed by them, and they do exactly what they are told. So how are you a revolutionary leftist when the government espouses all of your talking points? How? It's a crazy time to be alive when these people call themselves agitators. Of course he is. So is everyone, Stephen. And what I'm saying is, you shouldn't feel let down by it, because it's the same in every country in the world. The Americans have got the most powerful military in the world, and they've been consumed. Joe Biden doesn't work for the American people. He doesn't. He works for his masters. He works for his globalist paymasters. He works for Klaus Schwab. Why do you think they all went to hang out with him with the fucking Hawaiian shirts on in Bali? And have you noticed how they never have the big parties in fucking Redcar or Hartlepool? They always have to go to Bali or Hawaii or wherever else is fucking thousands of miles away and ludicrously expensive. They all fly into Bali on private jets, wear Hawaiian shirts, fuck child prostitutes, and drink expensive $10,000 bottles of champagne and eat sirloin steak and say, yeah, but you guys have got to eat crickets and you guys can't fly anymore. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. Yeah, and that's the other funny thing about them. They'll tell you themselves. As I keep saying, he told us about the Great Reset. He called his talk the Great Reset, and he said, yeah, we're going to have a Great Reset. And it was only when the general public went, well, that sounds like a shit idea, and he realised, fucking hell, you're not getting behind this plan. Then he went, oh, yeah, conspiracy theory then. No, I never said that. Like I said, the normies that call you a conspiracy theorist, just tell him that. Called it himself. That's what he called it. The live streams on YouTube. He wrote a book about it, and he put pamphlets out about it called The Great Reset. And it was only a year after the public have said, no, fuck The Great Reset, fold it up and shove it up your dirt box. Then he went, oh, yeah, well, if you talk about The Great Reset, it's conspiracy theories. All right, then. Biden doesn't work for the Alzheimer's Society, but he definitely should have been fucking locked in a straitjacket and threw in a padded cell by the Alzheimer's Society. I don't think so. Unfortunately, I think that still counts as cannibalism. But, to be fair, those people typically do less good for the world than the average cow. At least the shit might help grow some alternative crops. So, there is that. I just think we're living in a crazy time. And I'm sick and tired of getting called a conspiracy theorist for pointing at facts and going, look at that fact there, that event that just occurred. And people going, yeah, conspiracy. Like, all right, I don't know what else to tell you. People, the world's gone fucking mad. And that's that, innit? What else have we got? Oh yeah, I did a short chat with one of my favourite writers on Quarry yesterday. I'm going to see if that's taped properly, and then I'll put that up. Oh yeah, look at this one. Oh my God. Yeah. I apologise in advance if you feel the need to bleach your fucking eyeballs after seeing that fucking chrome dome. Look at that. So that creature that the mainstream media and the globalists were all singing the praises of for months. Yay! First ever non-binary, yay! Obviously it's been nicked. Yeah, the creature's been arrested. Sam Brinton, Deputy Assistant Secretary in the Department of Energy, who was praised for being a non-binary transvestite, has been charged with felony theft. I'm sorry, convict. What was that? Sorry, what was that? Convict. I always just call them convict now because it's like derogatory without being derogatory. They can't ban you for calling someone a convict when that's what they are. That's all I call them now. Like Diane Abbott. How's your convict son doing? Or what was that horrible? I mean, I lose track of how many Labour MPs have been nicked or arrested for the endless shenanigans they get up to. What was that twat called who lied about driving and got jailed for it? So I just call them all convict. Yeah, cheers, convict. So yeah, there's another one. Yet another one. Beloved by the left. Just think about this. Just think about how mad they are, right? I'll end with this because I don't want to talk about this fucking bony-headed Mekon for too long. But just think about how mad the world is that we live in. People like me grew up in the 80s and the 90s. We were always saying, listen, you shouldn't really be homophobic. because you can't really choose what you are. And being gay or being straight is irrelevant to how you behave. You know what I mean? You get straight people that are serial killers, doesn't say anything about me just because I'm straight. You get straight people that are anything, pedos, rapists, nonces, fucking, but you also get straight people that are philanthropists and kind and warm and giving. So we sort of went, it's a bit ridiculous judging people by what their sexual preference is. But now, because we're living in bizarro world, this creature was universally praised unendingly for doing nothing charitable, nothing endearing, nothing useful. It was praised unendingly simply because it said, I'm non-binary. This is the world we're living in. Make it make sense to me. Why is it that in 2022, if you say you're gay or trans or non-binary, or even in the eyes of the mainstream media or Disney, black or Asian or disabled or lesbian or basically anything other than a man, they seem to have decided that that says something about your character. So, like Martin Luther King's shit about, oh, yeah, don't judge anyone. But no, we don't do that now. We've reversed what he said, and now we say, if you look like fucking Morris the Megon, and you've got eyes like a shithouse rat, and teeth like a fucking pinched them off a dead sheep, and a big bony Mekon head, and you're all over the place, and you're a thieving, lying, cheating, sneaking rat bastard, as long as you put a dress on and say gobbledygook, like, I'm not really a man, apparently people will say, oh, well, they're definitely a good person. They're a good person because they've got a bony head and eyes like a shithouse rat, and you're a bad person because you're normal and handsome and heterosexual and male. Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me. Don't hate me because I'm good looking. I say that because I don't think I'm particularly good looking, but when you put me next to that thing, fucking hell, absolute pussy slayer. Look at the clip of that. Straight men would rather fuck me than Bobby fucking Bonehead. So yeah, I will make it go away. Sorry, that was quite a lot. There's another one. That wasn't pre-planned. I was just scrolling down and I'll get rid of it. Fucking hell. Yeah, look at the clip of it. Look at the clip of it. There's nothing. I think that image is better. That image just shows that the world's gone mad. For some reason, people saw that picture and said, this person is a good person, a righteous person, an honest person, a decent person. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I do not understand it. I don't understand how it makes you liberal. What? And I'm lost for words. Fucking what? Looks like the fucking bad guy up the Matrix in that one, doesn't it? remember the evil one who eats the steak and he's like, ignorance is bliss. That fucking, I don't even know. Is that the same person? Surely. Bad guy off the Matrix. Bruce Willis. Megon. It's like Nicolas Cage when he gets in the face-off machine. That's a master of disguise. That fucking thing should be working for the CIA. Like Mission Impossible, you just can't be the world's greatest spy. Anyway, yeah, so the world's gone mad. Funny though, isn't it? Funny. Right, I'll bugger off so you look and watch the second half of the football if you're so inclined. I'm not watching. I couldn't give a rat's ass. Support Middlesbrough. They need all the help they can get. Right, thanks for watching, everybody. I will. I'll probably upload that as long as it taped. I'll upload that chat I had with one of my favourite writers on Quora. See if you enjoyed that because he's a good guy and he's a good writer. All right, so yeah, I'll probably put that on my channel today or tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. I'll upload some more content this week because I'm sobering up for a bit. It's great doing it. I love the binge drinking, healthy lifestyle thing. That's what I like to do. Swings and roundabouts, ups and downs. It makes you, the best thing about it is it really makes you appreciate being healthy. If you're healthy all year round, you stop appreciating not feeling like you've been run over by a fucking bus and then gargled with whiskey and razor blades. Right. Okay. Cheers. See you all very soon. I'll probably stream on, I don't know when my next day off is. Saturday, maybe. Yeah, who knows? Anyway, keep your nose to the ground and keep your chins up. I'll see you all very soon. Cheers.